Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. Coming to you from MegaKat City, I'll be your host, Dave Trumbore. And joining me as always, it's ace pilot and furry enthusiast, Sean Paul Ellis. How's it going tonight, sir?
David, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well myself. Hey, tell me, who's your co-pilot over there tonight? I feel like you got somebody in the old
Oh my
cockpit
gosh.
with you.
I have our good buddy Tony Lazzaroni is back hanging out with us this evening. So welcome back, Tony. We're glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
This
Welcome
is
back, Tony.
third time?
Yeah, I think
Third
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 time.
time.
Charm, yes.
Yes.
Should be charmed.
This will
Are
be the
you-
good one. The first two were awful, but this will be the good one. I promise you.
Now, were the shows awful, or were the shows that we watched awful, or was it just awful
You guys,
all
you guys-
around?
You guys are always awful. No, I'm. It was me. It was just me.
Just different levels of awfulness here. We're going to find out if the guys thought this show was awful or not. This happens to be my pick. If you don't know from the MegaKat reference, we are talking SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. Usually just shortened to SWAT Kats.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the Radical Squadron. Did you have a problem with the word radical? Is that your problem tonight?
No, I have a problem with these two terrorists just fucking with this city nonstop.
A fair point, which we will get into in a little bit. Before that, though, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history. SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. Obviously an animated television series. That's what we cover here on the show. This one was created by Christian and Yvonne Tremblay, whose names you will never hear again. It was produced by Hanna-Barbera and Turner Program Services. Because it was a Turner production, it ran on TBS. Happened to run on the syndication block of The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera from the years of 1993 to 1995. The series episodes, all of them, were directed by a fellow named Robert Alvarez, and most of them were written by Glenn Leopold or Lance Falk, if you care about such things. There were a lot of contributors.
I mean, why would you not care about them?
Why
I
would
mean,
you
Very
care?
important.
That's important shit. Like
important
we have
shit.
to know. We have to know.
This is American history. We must know this.
This is a very specific American history class from the year of 1993 to 1995, focused in animated television series studies.
Goddamn right.
From
it is.
San Francisco City College. If anybody, what the hell show was that? What was that a throwback to? I can't even remember which show that was.
Oh, the San Francisco.
Oh yeah, it was Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah, it was Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yes, because you can get your PhD in amateur archaeology and animated television.
I honestly just want to go back to. I want to find a college, even if it's like an online school, like a Strayer or something like that, or a University of Phoenix.
Yeah, be
I
a
just want
Phoenix,
to major. I just want to major in Jackie Chan. Like that's got to be a major. I'm so interested in majoring in
We
Jackie
can,
Chan.
buddy. You don't even have to major in that. We can actually probably just teach that class right now.
That would basically be a film studies class.
Yeah.
And you
Just very
you limit
specific.
it specifically to the purview of just all Jackie Chan movies.
My concern for this class is that day one, when I write my name up on the board, I'm going to be like, students, my name is Jackie Chan. Damn it.
It keeps them up at
Off
night.
to a bad start, Ellis.
It would only be worse if you did it in broken English.
Look, as an ode to Jackie Chan's one of his first performances in live action on a movie, can you please have a mole that changes in size and just moves around on your face?
Oh, God.
Nice.
Is this Kim Possible?
That's my favorite. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's that naked mole rat.
Ooh, Kim Possible naked mole rat. I don't know what's happening right now.
We
We're going deep down a hole.
Deep
Yeah.
down a hole.
We
Let's
just-
bring it back to SWAT Kats. There was a total of 25 finished episodes. There was actually one special episode. Special should be in quotes here because it was basically just a clip show.
Was it a Hanukkah episode?
It was a Hanukkah episode. I feel like Sean has been waiting for that joke for a while.
I really have not.
For a reason we may name later. But this special episode featured a report on the SWAT Kats, all their missions, all their gadgets, all their crazy weapons. There was also 3 unfinished episodes in the series, and 2 that for some reason are still in the concept stage, and whatever that means, because this was 20 years ago. But yeah, that's about it. There's a brief history of the SWAT Kats. If you want to know what the show is actually about, I'm going to turn it back over to Sean. He's going to let you know.
I wanna talk about what the series is about, but
Do you?
how do you? Yeah, I do. But like, how do you still say that you have an episode from a show that's been off the air for like 20 years
Yeah.
that's still in the concept stage?
Well, I
Like-
mean, if maybe, because I think this is out there on complete series on DVD. all 25 episodes. I wouldn't
Okay.
be surprised if there was a little bit of just like concept art, or maybe just like
Is
a.
it just like they storyboard it,
It
and
might
like
be.
that's what they show?
Yeah, or it might. I mean, hell, at this point, concept might just be an idea for like a plot that they wanted to do in one of the episodes.
There's an audio recording of one of the creators just high going, all right, so MegaKat's like, fuck you.
It's actually just Dan Deacon's drinking out of cups. That was the concept for the Missing SWAT Kats episode. It makes a lot more sense
Non-stop,
now.
Just like,
Yeah, just a lot of seahorses and
oh boy.
a lot of
All
drinking
right.
noises.
This series takes place in the fictional metropolis of MegaKat City, which is entirely populated by furries, otherwise
pretty
known
much.
as anthropomorphic felines, known as cats with a K.
With a K,
because,
very important.
I mean, here's the thing that I don't understand is that cats really don't need better branding. Like, most people are already on board with cats.
Look, this was like early internet days for cats, though. Like, I feel like they were still maybe on that bubble. Like, will they? Won't they make it? Should I invest?
No.
Should I
Are you
not?
kidding me? 1995. There were. I'm gonna venture to say,
Yeah.
as our. I know we have archaeology that is, and Jackie Chan is a potential major,
Which
but
you can study at San Francisco City College.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
As our internet historian for this show,
Mm-hmm.
like. There were pictures of cats, but there weren't memes of cats in like 1995, especially not in 1993.
No, we
during
didn't know what a
time
meme
this-
was then.
Yeah, we had no fun. We were dum dums.
No.
So
Pre-meme society, kids.
trying to figure out this shit.
Yeah.
So like to spell cats with a K just seems unnecessary, and you know what it seems like? It seems like they are trying to make cats cooler than they are, like more badass cats.
So you don't think they should have added a Z to the end of cats?
Oh God!
Like the Bots Master? No?
Jesus Christ!
You know, that's the only thing that they could have done that would have made the score higher in Scrabble.
Yeah.
Which is what most animated shows are going for these days. That's their metric.
When I play,
Was robotics? Did it end with an X?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally did.
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Unless
double the score on
unless
that fucker.
yeah, unless you were Sean and thought it was just robot dicks. Which I don't know what scores higher, but either one. The
when
scores
I play,
comedy
well,
points
Dix
for me.
does because it's more letters, so you have the potential to go across
Yeah,
more.
triple
But like
word
you know,
score.
when I play with my grandmother, you know, I definitely want to drop SWAT Kats and have her just be like, "I don't think you can use proper nouns," and I'm like, "Shut up, grandma." Like,
I would love it better if she was just like, "Oh, I fucking love that show.
yes.
Now make me some
that's
porridge."
better. Yeah, make me some porridge. How old and stranded do you think my grandmother is?
All grandmothers eat porridge. It's fine.
No, they're not. I'm not going to argue with you. Grandmothers strictly eat porridge.
Yeah.
It's as a grandmother historian for this show.
Granny L, she's a porridge eating badass.
my
Right there.
my nanny exclusively eats porridge.
Can we get Granny Ellis on this show?
My Italian, my 92-year-old Italian grandmother.
We learned
yes.
it was Nani Ellis. Nani Ellis.
Nani Ellis. I like it. I like it. Can you do like a phone a friend? Can you just call her in real quick and have her drop some knowledge on SWAT Kats?
Yeah, I can't. I can't wait to ask her to do this show and just have her be like, I don't know what this is, and I'll be like, I don't know either.
It'll be
but
great. She'll be a fixture
I
from
think
there
that
on
might be
out.
an amazing show.
Yeah.
That might be fantastic.
Yeah. Nani
Um,
Ellis. Okay, so SWAT Kats. We've
so-
got MegaKat City,
Oh,
and they are
boy.
cats. What else you got for us?
So the titular SWAT Kats are two terrorist pilots who
That's not the word it says.
it's two vigilante
there it is.
pilots.
Pirates.
Pirates. God,
Yar.
this would infinitely become a better show if it was Pirates of Darkwater but with cats.
Ooh.
Uh,
So kind of like Tailspin, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so we did that already.
But if Tailspin was with cats. I mean, Don Carnage was sort of a dog, but that's still not a cat.
Well, he was kind of a fox thing. What about Shere Khan, though?
He was a tiger.
Yeah, that's a big
just
cat.
Big cat.
That's a literal big cat.
Ugh. All right. So we have two vigilante pilots who possess a state-of-the-art fighter jet that has an array of weaponry.
It does indeed.
Excessive
Oh
array.
boy.
Unnecessary array.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but we'll talk about that.
I would dare say excessive.
You'd say it's excessively? Because they use a different missile in every episode?
Oh my god! Even when the same one would have done for all three
Yeah,
cases.
I love when it goes from one episode to another, and that one missile got upgraded by like 1,000,000,000%. Makes zero sense. But go ahead.
Well, and my favorite was the one where he ran out of a certain kind of missile.
Right.
It was like, I'll switch to another
It's
one.
like, oh, I guess we got a
400.
couple others. Yeah.
I have to wonder, in the 3 episodes that we watched, there were times that the plane came under fire and was hit by an enemy ray or energy blast, whatever we want to call it. I have to think that that plane is just carrying a shit ton of explosives at all time. Any contact with something would have just blown them out of the fucking sky.
But that plane was impervious to any kind of dangerous impact for a projectile because it was made out of the world's best quality junk from a junkie
That's what
store.
I mean, like, look, man, the TurboCat is state-of-the-art, high-tech, cutting-edge machinery. It's not like they just slapped this thing together with a bunch of junk laying around. Oh, wait, that's exactly what they
Or
did.
exactly what they did.
I love that, though.
Yes.
I want to talk more about that in a little bit, but yeah.
I don't even know. I think the final thing to say is that they face a variety of villains who I'm hard pressed to give a shit about,
That's fair.
and they live in a military state where there's a general who, I don't know, or a commander who decides that he is going to fight every battle alongside of his troops and do a poor job at that, and they're called the enforcers.
Yeah.
So this isn't a normal like setup where you have police, you have law enforcement. These are just this is just a military presence that it just inhabits MegaKat City.
Which does have a mayor. There is Mayor Manx, who does run the city, but he's kind of a... He sounds like W.C. Fields for some reason, and he's...
Yes!
Yes, thank you. We were literally we were talking before this, like, who the fuck does the mayor sound
Yeah.
like?
That's right,
Like,
it's
we
W.C.
hope to God
Fields.
that Dave figured this
Yeah,
out.
I literally just did, like within the
Fucking
last 10
fucking
seconds, because I was
logo.
like, he sounds like a drunk Irishman, but that's not quite specific enough. It's like, oh, it's
That's
W.C. Fields.
exactly it.
Yeah, yeah. So he's basically
done,
worthless.
sir.
Yeah, he's worthless, he's
Bravo.
cowardly, he runs away. The enforcers really run the show until the SWAT Kats come in and kind of ruffle their feathers, I guess, a little bit. But we'll talk more about that because that does actually go a little bit deeper into this show's plot, which does not start very deep at all. But before we get into all that, Sean, buddy,
Yeah.
we have not talked about intros and theme music for, I don't know, at least a week, if not a couple weeks here. Do you want to get back into this here?
Yeah, I do. I took some notes about this.
Professional.
This intro, it starts out with Godzilla,
More or less, yep.
and then it looks like it's a mashup of Mighty Max
Right.
and Herculoids.
Well, Hanna-Barbera, so...
Yeah, and then I noticed I was like, is that a smoke monster? And then in the second episode, you realize it's just bacteria.
Yep, just a giant bacteria.
And I guess the sequence of events that happens is these things are terrorizing MegaKat City, and what happens is the SWAT Kats assemble and they deploy in the TurboCat, their jet plane that they're in, which is called the TurboCat,
Right, with a K.
and they fire missiles at Godzilla. You have no idea whether or not it does a single fucking thing to Godzilla because they are zooming off to the next thing to shoot missiles at, which is a reoccurring theme.
Yep.
This show would have been called Cats Fire Missiles at a City, and I would have been like, yeah, that makes perfect fucking
That
sense.
was actually the
That's-
Japanese translation of this show's title. So you nailed it.
It's I don't know. I think that this show told me from the intro that these people are never really gonna get out of this plane, and they're never really gonna resolve anything,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna continually do a half-ass job at the thing that they're doing as a side passion.
Sure. Well,
I
that's...
say that with a question mark because I'm just not like I'm not 100% sold. I don't know. I thought it was interesting because originally I thought the intro was all original animation, and then after watching the first 3 episodes, I just realized it was sort of recycled.
Yeah.
It's pretty much entirely the first episode.
Yeah.
Just
and I
clipped,
feel
yeah.
I get this sneaky suspicion that like they did this whole intro and they actually use a different animation style for the intro where it feels like it's like a fisheye lens. Like everything's kind of coming at you. It made me feel a lot like Aeon Flux.
Everything looks better with a fisheye lens.
Busta Rhymes.
But it makes me think a lot of that like Aeon Flux, that kind of like as things come to the center of the frame, they get much larger, and then as they move away from it, it just shrinks in size drastically. And so, you know, when this Godzilla monster like gets its eye close up, like it fills the entire frame and then just backs away a little bit, and then you can see all of it all the way down to the ground again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I like that visual style. I wanted, I'll let you finish there, Tony. I just wanted you to jump in with sort of the audio as well. I want to hear your reaction to the kind of the starts off with a klaxon wailing and a bunch of people screaming, and then jumps into the SWAT Kats theme. But finish your thought up, and then let me know what you think of that.
Yeah. At any rate, I feel like almost they made the theme song and that whole sequence, and then said, "Well, we have to explain this whole theme sequence. Why don't we write an episode about it?" It's all these things together. And somebody was given a Mad Lib that was basically the sequences from the opening episode and said, "Make this make sense." Because the opening episode, honestly, compared to the other two, was the most batshit insane piece of shit.
Yep.
Like the other ones at least had a progression that goes somewhere. But the first episode, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Am I wrong?
Like I have a question. Did Lance Falk's wife, like, did Lance Falk have a brother-in-law that was just really good at like a single guitar riff?
I certainly hope so, because I love it.
Lance Falk's wife was just like, "You gotta help my brother out. He's really trying to get."
It's 1993. Nobody's doing double guitar riffs like that anymore.
We're really trying to put his career like on fire. Like, we're looking for that one thing that'll ignite what he's doing. Please let him write some music for SWAT Kats.
He was gonna be the fill-in guy in Rat, and then that just fell apart. And he needs something to grab onto.
Look, if my claim to fame was that I wrote the music for the SWAT Kats theme song, I'd die a happy man, because it's one of my favorites ever. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's not really interesting at all, but it's very like memorable. I could still remember it even before it came on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when it started playing, I immediately remembered it. Yeah, it stuck with me.
I want to find that version of Dave Trumbore like 60 years from now in a bar.
Like in an alternate universe, like in Sliders?
Yes.
Where I wrote the SWAT Kats theme at 10 years old? Yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, just leave the bottle. Hey, I wrote the SWAT Kats theme song. You guys need a drink together? You guys want a beer? Let's talk about SWAT Kats. Also, I'm real into furries."
I mean, I'm not too far from most of that right now, so you've already met me. Here I am, buddy. But no, I like that one. I like just like the blatant, just crazy kind of like rock guitar solo. That's all it was. I mean, it's very simple, pared down. There's literally no dialogue except the main characters, who we'll talk about in a second, just screaming, "Yeah!" then flying off into the sunset. And that's it. It's kind of like Top Gun with cats, is another way to look at it.
Yeah.
Animated Top Gun with cats. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the plane in a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. To me, that's one of the characters. So if you just want to dive into that, we can start with that.
Well, no, I just wanted to say, to answer your question, Dave, my impression of the theme song is that we're about to watch a cartoon full of feline, half-assed terrorists.
Interesting.
And I was like, all right, I'm interested.
Yeah, interesting.
I say that with like a little bit of disdain.
Oh, I couldn't tell. It wasn't coming across.
But I'm still interested.
Very clearly.
So I'm cool with that.
All right, well, you guys want to jump into the characters here? And I'm perfectly happy starting with the plane itself, if you'd like to.
Yeah, so the plane itself, so the really interesting thing about this is that this is the most versatile aircraft that I don't understand why the U.S. military hasn't co-opted exactly the technology that's in this plane, because it's the perfect amalgamation of like a Harrier that can take off and land vertically, and like has the versatility of like a Tomcat and can just do whatever you need it to do.
Like, I don't know, drop a motorcycle with one of your pilots out the ass end of the plane? Yeah.
Which randomly will change between 1 person and 2 person in size. Yeah. The motorcycle.
Who the fuck is flying the plane, though, when that thing drops out of there with 2 people in it? I don't know if they addressed that.
It's the world's most amazing autopilot that, again, came from the world's greatest junkyard.
It's the best.
If you want to see one mode of transportation shit another mode of transportation, SWAT Kats is for you.
Hey, man, there's Fast and the Furious, but SWAT Kats did it first, so that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But no, the plane is amazing. It has every kind of bell and whistle. The sheer number of different options for missiles.
Oh, and I'm gonna quiz you guys right now. How many can you name? Just from the 3 episodes we watched. Yeah.
I can't name any of them.
There's the squid missile. There was like the circular saw missile.
Wrong.
Are you saying wrong?
Yeah, I'm just saying wrong because I have their actual names. Because they scream the names of the missiles out when they launch them, which is hilarious.
Right. Go. Please, enlighten us. What were the names of these batshit crazy missiles?
Okay. So in some territories, maybe Sean was correct with squid missiles. They call them octopus missiles.
Okay.
Yeah, big difference there. But spider missiles, I don't even remember what they. Oh, they're the ones with the nets, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Got a megavolt missile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then there's the upgraded megavolt missile. That's the scrambler missile. That's got it's like 1 million megavolts, I guess. Which they upgrade from one episode to the next, and they've gone up a millionfold.
Fuck that missile.
Fuck that missile. Baby boomer missiles. Take that, baby boomer. Second greatest generation. And then we got the mole missiles, which I think is the one that Sean was talking about. That kind of has like a weird saw thing that can apparently cut into things and then drop people out of the holes. So yeah, that's all the ones I got just in 3 episodes. So there you go. That's all the missiles.
There and that's just through 3 episodes, and I actually wound up watching a couple beyond the 3, and they don't get any more consistent. It's like every episode they had to come up with a new missile, and almost always it has this cartoonish thing where the missile flies and it looks like a normal missile, and then the end cap pops off, and some weirdo thing comes out the front of the missile. I'm like, you could just fill that thing with explosives and accomplish the same task.
Yeah, we'll do the same thing. It basically, I would not have been surprised if a missile was flying and then just stopped in midair and had a giant arm with a hammer just spring out of it and just smash something out of the sky, because it was that level of cartooniness.
Each missile was so Acme style.
Yeah, hammer spaced.
It was Jason the Wheeled Warriors of missiles.
Oh.
Plant-based.
Yeah. Oh, that's a burn, right?
It is a burn. That's a definite burn.
God.
But yeah, so all of this we've got everything about the Turbo Cat that Tony mentioned, as far as all its specs and all its abilities and all its just crazy technology. And for the first 2 episodes, you're just like, where the hell did these 2 pilots get this thing? I don't think it's until the 3rd episode that you find out they've basically been relegated to this junkyard, and they make all their weapons, everything, out of scrap that comes from the busted up Enforcers planes. So all the military grade weaponry and planes that get scrapped and dumped in their junkyard, they patch them up and put them back together, and that's how they make their sleek, stealthy
those
stuff.
Are made of Swiss cheese. Those things, I mean, a strong gust of wind and you're knocking one of those fuckers out of the sky. So I don't understand what they would have done to that metal to make it all of a sudden impervious to any kind of fire or impact or heat or what have you.
I don't know, man, but according to Wikipedia, Jake Clausen, aka Razor, is a mechanical genius. So he obviously knows a little bit of metallurgy or something there.
I was like, I don't want to explain metallurgy to you on this show, Tony, but suffice to say...
No, let's take a few minutes out. What do you got for our listeners there?
Well, so if you're going to smelt something down like that, cats are the best.
Best smelters?
The best smelters. I mean,
that's singed hair, though. You cannot get that smell out of your upholstery. It's just...
Oh, and you don't want to. I mean, burnt hair smells
Is
great.
that why the plane was black? Is it just covered in singed cat hair?
Just
all the
coating
other
of burnt cat hair.
vehicles are silver, but the plane is jet fucking black with little red tail fins. Is that what happened?
It's just a fur plane.
The fuck out of some cat hair?
Yeah, it's just a fur plane. The entire thing is covered in fur.
The rest of their body?
Very stealthy. Radar just kind of gets absorbed by the black cat fur. Yeah, it gets all over the city. You can't vacuum that shit out.
It's just like a cat. It's so stealthy. You never know when it's gonna come.
Nope.
All right.
Silent and deadly.
Oh my god. So you talked about Jake Clausen, alias Razor.
Razor.
And he seems to be he's sort of like the. I know you made the reference to Top Gun,
Mm-hmm.
so he would be like the goose.
He'd be the goose.
He's like the navigation and weapons guy. Not the
He's
pilot.
riding shotgun. Nah, he's riding
Yeah.
shotgun. He's riding behind. Which, honestly, for a moment before I actually started watching the show, I thought for some reason in my memory that they each had like separate planes. I don't know why I thought that,
Oh,
but it's
really?
very obvious from the get-go that these two are in the same plane. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we should.
I
ask-
vaguely remember that too. That may be a later episode where all of a sudden they got like maybe this, the thing shits out a
Yeah, a smaller
motorcycle.
plane
so
or
it's
whatever.
just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that the smaller plane is impossible.
Yeah, like a hang glider or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Does it ever shit out like a jet ski?
I mean, if
sure.
it shits out a motorcycle, I'd imagine that motorcycle just turns into a jet ski at some
It's
point.
got little skis that pop out or something.
Yeah, a
sure.
little ski-doo, whatever.
The thing, and it seems like it can seal up, so it could be
Yeah.
a submarine. I'm sure they use the hell out of that little, torpedo cycle that
It's
he's
very
driving
like
around.
James Bondy in a way that they kind of just
Yeah.
like morph it into anything they want because cartoons. Yeah.
And I wonder what the fuck that Jake actually does in the jet. The fact that he can just get out on a regular basis.
Yeah, he just
and
hops
the
out.
plane continues to fly without issue. Usually, the second man is operating your weapon system, and so they need to be there. And if that guy gets killed or ejected or anything like that, you're kind of fucked. Other than just flying away.
Right.
And yet, in this case, like he's an ancillary character. He's just along for the ride.
Dude, and I have to mention this too, since we talked about the plane so much. There is an additional vehicle of sorts built into this thing. You remember in the first episode when the guys get, spoiler, sent back in time, and they basically crash land their plane. Well, so normal planes would have, your ejector seats. Launch your chair up into the sky, and then you would just coast down to Earth with a
Oh,
parachute.
right.
Yeah.
And they're the little jet flyer.
Yeah, they've got like what's his
They were
name?
lazy boys. It was a Barcalounger
Yeah.
jetpack.
Yeah. They've got like the floating throne of like Thanos, just like flying around on a rocket throne, just shooting pterodactyls out of the sky with their laser guns.
It's Professor X chairs.
Yeah, it's like some combination of the two. I love it.
David, I want to pause.
Let's pause.
Is this like a
PAWS.
Is this a moment where I've become such a cynical fuck?
I think
that,
so.
Like, I can't watch a fun children's cartoon from like the mid '90s and be like, oh yeah, like Jetpack Barcalounger, like that makes total sense.
I'm
like,
gonna say that the moment has already come and gone, and you are just now reaping the benefits of it.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll
because
take that.
I still have like a piece of a child's heart within mine somewhere because I grafted it there during a failed experiment. So I can still actually enjoy this show, and I love the jetpacks, and there's a lot of grappling hooks, and there's a lot of fun stuff. So I still had a good time with it, but I don't know. To each his own. We'll get into that a little bit more, I think, once we get to the episode discussion. But we kind of gave you a little bit on Razor. Do you guys want to, Tony? Do you want to talk up T-Bone a little bit?
So T-Bone, it seems like he's the consummate meathead. And it was kind of interesting that you used, Top Gun as your approximation to how this show was laid out. Because I feel like T-Bone is somewhere like an amalgamation. It's the love child of Maverick and Iceman.
Ooh.
Like he's got just enough smarts and cunning and clarity that he's got some Maverick in him. But he's just enough of a beefhead asshole that he's got some Iceman in there too.
Oh, that's real fucking good.
You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna make Jake Goose, then I mean you're definitely talking about sorry, what's his name? T-Bone. What? No. What's his actual name? This is the thing.
Chance. It's
I
Chance
never heard
Furlong.
Chance. I never heard Chance in the show.
I heard Chance
Jake.
once.
Yeah, they
Okay,
say
I
Chance
heard-
once or
I
twice.
heard
They never
Jake
say
and
Furlong.
Yeah.
But you know
Well,
who? You know who actually calls him Chance and Jake though? It's our third
Callie,
kind of member.
Callie.
Yeah, Callie. Yep.
Callie. Yeah, I heard. Well, and I remember her calling him Jake a couple times.
Mhm.
But so now here's the interesting thing: is that this show is full of fucking cat puns.
Oh yeah.
Every
Oh my
possible
God.
way.
Chock-full.
And so Chance Furlong, okay,
Right.
Furlong. All right, Jake Clausen,
Mhm.
Claus, and you've got Calico Briggs, Calico Cats,
Mhm.
and Commander Ulysses Farrell Cats. It's 100
It's constant.
cat puns
It's
lined up.
relentless. It's
All of their catchphrases are things based on horrible, horrible cat puns.
So like listening to all these cat puns.
Yeah.
Right meow. I want to kill myself.
oh no. You should be in Super Troopers too. Now funded,
on
thanks to
Indiegogo.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Oh, is it funded already?
Oh
Yeah.
man, they got their $2 million
Sweet.
in like a couple hours, so
So
They'll
excited
go to the
about
next
this.
level.
I was actually listening to their podcast on the way down, and they were talking about setting it up. So
nice.
yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and then they're going to go from Super Troopers 2. They're actually going to make SWAT Kats the movie, but it's going to be live action, and they're just going to have a bunch of people in furry costumes come out and act it out. So it's going to be pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
I do want to mention, since this was not live action, and we actually did have voice actors, Commander Ulysses Farrell was actually voiced by Gary Owens, and if I'm correct, he was the voice of Space Ghost. Is that correct? Yes, he was. Voice of Space Ghost.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. You can kind of picture his voice a little bit if you haven't actually watched the show. He's kind of their antagonist, actually. You've got like the villain of the week that kind of just randomly shows up for no apparent reason with no apparent motive to fight the SWAT Kats. But the one that's there each and every episode for the most part is this Commander Farrell. He's kind of like a thorn in their sides. And you actually find out that they've got a history with Farrell, which
Right.
we can talk about. Do you guys want to dive into the episodes now, since we've kind of introduced our characters? We've got
Well,
our...
the one character
Yeah.
that I want to talk about,
Who else you
that
got?
I'm excited to talk about, is Callie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let's talk about it.
Cause she's
Sexy kitty.
thank you, real fucking sexy. Like that's one of the instances where I was like, oh, yeah, I get furry. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
get that idea.
I like the cynical Sean that
Okay.
just hated kids' cartoons better than creepy Sean who's into like kitty cat porn. But that's fine. Everything's fine.
David, you and I went to school in
We
a
did.
city that hosts the largest national furry convention,
Anthrocon 2015.
Anthrocon. If you guys would like to meet, we're going to be at Anthrocon
Mm-hmm.
2016. If people would like to come and say hello,
Sean's gonna be
David-
T-Bone. I'll be Razor.
we will be there hanging out.
Do you want to go as? Do you want to go as? Nice. I really want to do this now.
Cody's coming as Farrell.
Let's
do
go.
this.
Sean, do you want to do you want to be pilot versions or do you want to be Grease Monkey Garage overall wearing version? Which one do you want?
Grease monkey with your backwards red baseball cap.
Absolutely. That's MegaKat
think-
City style, friend.
I want to do a wardrobe change, so both.
I mean, you got to bring multiple stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of them's gonna get stained eventually. So.
Well, one day Sean's gonna be Callie, which is gonna confuse everybody, but it'll be fine. We'll work it out.
It's not confusing me. Ugh.
Yeah,
Let's
gross.
we've learned enough about the essential characters in this show.
We've learned
Let's-
enough about Sean's proclivities tonight, so let's.
Well, wait. Can we talk about the three baddies that we wind up seeing too?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about them in regards? to
Yeah.
the
Let's
episode?
introduce them
Yeah,
as
we
we
can
go
do
through the
that.
episode. Yeah. So what do we got
So-
first? We got another pun. Has nothing to do with cats. It's just a weird pun that comes out of nowhere for this episode title. Do you guys remember this one?
Oh, for the
For
first
episode,
one,
yeah, episode 1.
the past master always rings twice.
Oh yeah. So right out of the gates with this one, with the puns.
I actually don't get what the pun is.
The postmaster always rings twice, or the postman always rings twice.
Oh, really? That's a thing?
Yeah, I forget how old the movie was. It is an older movie.
Who gets mail anymore?
Well, that's why I said it was an older movie, brother.
It's email. You get e.
Well, no, I get that.
Email.
I understand
That's-
that. I don't understand.
So the E is your postman.
Just for a little bit of
Oh.
cine history, we've got Postman Always Rings Twice, 1946, and we've got a remake with Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange in 1981.
Nerd. Sorry, what?
Couldn't hear you over searching IMDb frantically.
Nerd. Oh, sorry, I got a hiccup. Nerd.
You all right?
I'm fine. I'm
Do you
fine.
want-
Nerd. Oh God. It'll pass. Nerd. Oh,
God. All right.
oh.
Continue,
All right.
David.
I think we're
please.
good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was good with just the episode title there. That's all I really got for this one. Do you want to? Do you want to get through this
You
one?
really
No,
got-
no,
that's everything.
I really didn't
Watch
know
the
that
theme
was a
song.
thing.
That's all. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And Sean mentioned that at the beginning. That like, so in the intro to this portal opens up, Godzilla comes out and just terrorizes everything, and that's more or less what happens eventually in this one too. This episode decides to start out weirdly enough with a couple of gravediggers, which is a little strange. I don't know, to start a show out. Do you remember these two? It was kind of like click and clack
This
together.
scene-
Yeah.
This scene had my favorite line
Oh,
from
boy.
all 3
Tell
episodes that we watched. So it kind of opens on these two gravediggers, and at one point I was like, one of them kind of looked like a werewolf,
Yeah,
and
a
then
little
they're
bit.
cats.
Well, but that's our
Kind of
first
look like
introduction, though, too. So you're not quite
Right.
familiar with the style yet. But yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what's being anthropomorphized at this point, but regardless, I'm into it. So, um, so they begin digging and they find something, and at some point, the enforcers, this police presence shows up, and they decide to kind of halt the activity of these skeleton cats that are digging in place for the past master. And do you remember what the line was that they said? I laughed so fucking hard. I was so invested right from the get-go. I was like, if this is what the show's going to be, I'm so fucking happy about it.
No, I don't
and then
remember it.
it just did a 180 on me. The enforcer that was in the helicopter just goes, "You have the right to remain buried."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, as they're flying
And then
overhead.
shot-
Yeah, yeah.
And then shoots a fucking machine gun at a skeleton. I was like, this is the best. I was like,
Bravo.
See, so how could you? I don't know. At that point, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm in. Let's just see what happens. Oh, I do actually have that written down too. It was buried in my notes. Ha ha.
but this was like, I laughed so hard when this, you have the right to remain buried. I was like, oh my.
It was basically something that like Judge Dredd would yell before just like shredding it to pieces.
The thought or the idea behind this, for me at least, was that skeletons showed up all the time.
All the time.
To the point where they were just like, yeah, I got this badass catchphrase. Look, if I run into a skeleton again, if I run into a skeleton cat again, I've been cooking up this line. I'm gonna nail it.
That co-pilot went home to his wife and he said, I gotta come up with a catchphrase. I gotta have something prepared.
See,
for the next time we run into a walking skeleton.
Every fucking barbecue that those two went to together, they were just like, yo, you been thinking about that catchphrase? Look, I think I got one. Look, listen to this. You got the right to remain buried. And then you say to me, no bones about it.
Oh, I've been going with your boned. That's all I had so far.
See, that's why you gotta workshop these. That's fine. I just love. I pictured it like the two helicopter pilots were like it was like a scene from Training Day, where like one of them was his first day on the job, and the other one was like a seasoned vet. And he's like, check this shit out.
Which one's Denzel? Which one is Denzel?
The dude that said the line, obviously, it's got to be Denzel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
Ethan
makes
Hawke
sense.
was just like robo tripping in the back of the helicopter there. He didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh,
That's
God.
exactly what it was. But then it somehow gets weirder from there. I don't really know how you go from a couple
Well,
of
it
cat cops blasting skeleton cats to getting weirder, but it somehow gets
Again,
weirder.
all the more reason that I think this is just the Mad Lib episode that they had to make that footage somehow fit, and they said, how are we going to get this this cat made out of bones? Because what's the bad guy from this one?
Yeah, it's Passmaster.
Passmaster. Yes, the Passmaster is basically just a cat skeleton in a cloak.
He's like, if you've ever
That's-
seen those
that
like
is-
the world's ugliest dog contests,
Yes.
he's that thing.
Yeah.
He's like a toothless, one-eyed
snaggletooth
skeleton little thing with a tuft of hair on his head, but he's a cat-ish creature. Yeah, that's him in a cloak.
Now, I'm not sure if I misheard past master incorrectly, or if the diction in the show was off.
I mean, that's a terrible word to begin with, so.
Well, it is correct.
Yeah.
But I heard taskmaster.
Well, because that's an actual word.
That's the thing.
That's a
And
thing
I was
that
like-
exists. Yeah.
Right, it's a thing that exists in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is an episode about the world's shittiest to-do list.
I'm glad you didn't hear a sexual organ in the name of this one.
That's kind of what I assumed was coming next. Assmaster.
Assmaster.
It wouldn't make any sense for his ability to like control time through magic, but I mean, whatever.
All of the spells come out of his
Yeah,
ass.
that's where his magical tome was hidden this entire time.
Oh, I love this new show that we've created.
Assmaster.
It's like a combination of Training Day and a porn, and I don't even know what else is going on right now. But this is still not as weird as the actual show. I would just like to stress that point. The actual show is still strange. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
This show is very strange. If you could sum up this show in like a tweet in like 140 characters, Dave, what would you say?
I would just say this show is your nightmares from last night, but with cats. That's pretty much all it is, because there's no kind of like logic to it for the most part. Things just kind of come and go at random. A lot of shit blows up. It's very colorful. It's very kind of like action packed, but nothing really makes sense. That's all I got.
Okay.
I took like a serious answer to your question.
No, you did.
'Cause I had
I
nothing
appreciate
else.
that.
I had nothing else. What would you say?
I don't know. I would say, shitty terrorists go back in time to fight dinosaurs, only to shoot a missile at City Hall.
Who says we can't fight City Hall?
Oh God,
That's an
I hated
actual
that.
line.
When I watched that, I almost threw my iPad across the room. I was like, "Oh, this fucking show."
I love that is like their closing line though, because they say that and then they literally just like and fly off into an actual sunset, which is great. Just
Well,
great.
they say that, and then a moment afterwards, as the pterodactyl descends on the Turbo Cat, he goes, "Eat afterburner," and I threw up.
Just-
I would call this show catnip for children.
no, that's fair. That's actually really good.
because
You can
it's
hashtag
just-
that. You don't even have to tweet it. You
Yeah.
just hashtag it.
Catnip for children.
The interesting thing about this episode was that it alludes to the idea of a deeper, darker history
Right.
for MegaKat City.
Right.
And that was insanely interesting, that there was this like dark period of time, and I think they said like 800 years ago there were sorcerers and there was magic, and then I don't know if they like crusaded it and just murdered everything and buried it at some point.
That's kind of the frustrating thing with this show, I think, is that they've got these kind of ideas that, yeah, they're batshit and they're insane and they're very like frenetic, but they've got kernels of an idea somewhere that makes you think that there was a bigger storyline kind of to the whole thing that they kind
Right,
of drew
and
from.
that idea is interesting. That the kernel of that, the nugget that they present to you, is very fascinating. That there is a city that is technologically advanced, and you assume the idea is that the technology that they have is on par with what we had in 1995. Right along, let's baseline it for us at that point in existence. But we didn't have that type of like magic and sorcery in our history, so that's insanely interesting to me. And they just kind of gloss over all of it.
They're
Like, if you-
just like he just goes to a museum to like get his magic book that's just been like collecting dust for God knows how many years, but
And it's just part of their history.
Yeah.
It's not anything that has any real power.
Well, I love the fact
mean,
that
it's
go ahead.
It's very Night at the Museum. Like
Yeah,
Yes.
it was. And
Yes.
Passmaster looks exactly like Ben Stiller, so it's fine. But actually, to that point, what was interesting was like they kind of play with that a little bit, because Passmaster, he gets his book, he wants to, for whatever reason, use this like really powerful spell that just tears down MegaKat City and just destroys the whole thing. He's like, "Oh, I need to get to the highest clock tower in the land," and he kind of like looks at his piddly little clock tower that was on like top of the graveyard or something.
His focus was to basically revert the whole city back to how it was
Yeah, like
when he was
medieval
when he
times.
was first around.
Right. But he's at this point just completely overshadowed by all of the MegaKat City skyscrapers and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So they do kind of play with that a little bit, that he's kind of like definitely a man out of time. But then it just gets even crazier. Like I said, the SWAT Kats go back in time. They probably, screw up some alternate timelines and dimensions. Maybe that's why it's a city full of anthropomorphic cats and not humans. I don't know what the hell
Yeah.
goes on there, but
Well,
they do
the whole
refuel
point
out
is
of
that-
volcano, which might have been one of my favorite moments.
They do.
Yeah,
they
they
do refuel at a volcano, and this
Do you remember that?
whole sequence of events of them going back in time is playing with my heartstrings about dinosaurs. It's like they knew how much I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was a kid, and they were just like, "We're just gonna fuck with Sean."
Yep. We're just gonna shoot
Hashtag
dinosaurs
catnip
with
for
lasers.
children.
Hashtag
Hashtag catnip for children. I'm sticking with it.
hash brown no filter, like just killing me.
Do you remember the line when they actually fueled up their turbocat at a volcano, though?
No, hit us with it.
I didn't write it down. Do you remember what it
Well,
was?
Razor basically says something like, well, we can try this, and either we're going to get fueled up and get back home through one of these time holes, or we're just going to blow up. And then T-Bone says something like, well, maybe we should have tried the unleaded volcano, and that's about when I thought about turning it off.
Thank you. That's right.
Ooh, that was a rough one. That was a rough one. Anything else from this episode, though? I kind of want to get to the other two before we close up here.
Right. I'm not exactly sure how they beat the past master.
They just kicked his ass, but he's riding around on Godzilla, who idiotically walks into a tar pit, right?
Dave, the first thing is that they think they can beat him casting a spell by shooting a missile into the clock tower to prevent the clock tower from striking midnight.
Which was great.
And then a pterodactyl was like, nah, fuck you.
Well, first of all, I love the idea that like clocks control time and not the other way around.
Well, I love the idea that a pterodactyl knows what fucking time is.
Yeah, well, that too. Like, pterodactyl's like, fuck you.
Like, I wondered where the butterfly effect in this was, that they went back and they were just, randomly killing all these dinosaurs, and there's no present day.
No. That we are the result.
I think the butterfly effect was in '93 when this aired. Is that it gave Ashton Kutcher a career.
Okay.
I was going with that our world right now is actually the result of the SWAT Kats going back in time and killing off a bunch of dinosaurs that would become cats, I guess?
Are you serious? Really?
Yes, I'm serious. I'm 100% serious. Moving on. Would you like to go to, speaking of evolution, would you like to talk about some giant bacteria?
Oh, God.
I guess
don't
that's
know.
a no.
If you could tweet this episode, I'll keep with this. I think the fun thing about this, the thing that I enjoyed, was that it opens with the SWAT Kats
right.
Fighting this one pilot
right.
who's called
Morbius.
Morbius.
I thought it was Morbulus. I kept hearing Morbius.
Morbius?
Yeah. Morbius is from Marvel, but we'll go with it.
Fair enough. So they're shooting missiles at him as they do.
Yeah.
Because they're SWAT Kats.
All the missiles.
And of course, it's a dead-on target shot, and then he somehow manages to avoid the missile.
Oh.
And they say he must have eyes in the back of his head.
Huh.
Okay, common statement when somebody just randomly seems to see something from behind that they shouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
At this point, they invert the plane and approach over the top of the other plane and look down, and sure enough, this guy's got a pair of eyes on the back of his head, with another pair of flight goggles around them to protect them.
That was my favorite part, the fact that he actually had goggles covering his creepy-ass eyes in the back of his head.
So great.
Looking out the back, and yet somehow this guy didn't see the plane inverting and coming up behind him. That never struck him. No, that was that. And so then they managed to do the most cunning possible trick, which is to go underneath the plane. And I think they said something like, unless he's got eyes in the bottom of his feet or something like that.
Something weird like that, yeah. Yeah, and that's when they
expect him to have eyes in the bottom of his feet.
Well, you'd think, but and this is when they drilled into the bottom of the plane and dropped him out the bottom of it, right? Yeah, which was ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, though, so we've got a four-eyed villainous cat pilot, which is strange enough to begin with.
Sure.
They drop who loved just blowing up refineries, so I don't know if he was like an eco-terrorist or just an asshole or whatever he was. I don't know. They don't tell you anything about him. He's just a four-eyed cat. They drop him into the ocean. He basically crawls into a sewer to escape, and there he meets yet another nefarious villain. Do you guys remember this guy's name?
Well, I want to pause real quick and
pause.
say that this is the rare moment where you find that there's a terrorist fighting another terrorist.
John's really onto this SWAT Kat terrorist thing.
I don't know if it cancels itself out at that point. But
I would also love to say, okay, since you're on the terrorist thing, I'd like to say that in MegaKat City, everybody has a plane.
Apparently so.
Everybody has a plane. If you're a villain, if you're an enforcer, if you're just a man about town, everybody has a plane. I love this world because you just get to fly a plane everywhere. That's all. My two cents.
I feel like only terrorists and military presence get planes. So
terrorists don't really get planes. They take planes.
Or they build them from scrap metal in a junkyard.
Yeah. As you do. Okay, now we got another terrorist coming up. Would you agree that he is a terrorist as well? Of course, I'm talking Dr. Viper.
Oh,
Oh,
Dr.
Dr. Viper. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
He's a chemical warfare master.
Right.
Yeah,
Biological warfare master.
which is what you need. That's the best kind of terrorist.
He's like the scarecrow to this
Yeah.
shitty cat Gotham.
And I appreciate that an anthropomorphic cat was not enough. You had to do a snakish.
Yeah, he looks like,
where everything is spoken with lips.
Yes.
and he looks like if you took Scar from The Lion King, put a lab coat on him, and painted him green.
Painted him green. Yes.
That's pretty much exactly what he looks like. So
That's exactly it.
Sucked.
that's
And then
Dr.
he
Viper.
put a long-billed baseball cap on his head to hide his eyes.
There you got Dr. Viper.
Black as night eyes.
Okay, so we've got Dr. Viper. He meets up with Morbius. You think, okay, we've got a team up, so it's going to be 2 guys versus the SWAT Kats. That's not exactly how it all goes down.
Nope.
2 guys, 1 SWAT cat.
2 guys, 1 SWAT Kat. As this episode is called The Giant Bacteria, maybe you're asking yourself where the giant bacteria come from. Tony, where exactly do we get these titular bad
Well,
guys?
he yanks out these little danger grenades and chucks them basically at Morbius and converts him into this gigantic sludge creature. At which point, and I love this part, they make sure that they keep with continuity, and the 2 eyes that are in the back of his head relocate around the sides of his head so that all 4 are facing forward.
Oh,
and this
God.
becomes key.
Yes.
Because over the next about 10 minutes of the episode, they proceed to try and blow this gigantic sludge monster up.
After he eats an entire cow to fuel himself.
Correct.
Yes.
But each time they blow him up, it just causes him to split in half. Now, somehow he regenerates arms, legs, the whole shebang, but only keeps the same amount of eyes spread across these creatures. So it splits it into 2. So 2 characters with 2 eyes. Then one of those guys gets split into 2. So you've got 2 Cyclops and then one with both eyes. And then it's insane. But
It's great,
apparently
though.
that's how bacteria work. I learned 0 about science by watching this episode.
Listen, man, you learned everything you need to know. That is, it's got a rock solid foundation in evolution, microbiology, and general science.
Dave,
Yeah.
you know quite a bit about biology and chemistry.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have a question, or are you just making that as a statement?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like, is this science that we saw in SWAT Kats legit?
100%. If you take a 4-eyed cat pilot
son
and
of
you
a
hit him with a danger
I knew
grenade, he will become a 4-eyed blob monster bacteria.
Do bacteria have arms and legs? Are they able to walk around among us?
Yes.
Is that like the mitochondria of?
Sure. 100%.
How do they reproduce? Is it a complete?
Is it fission, budding?
Is it
Look, buddy,
asexual?
it's real sexy no matter how they do it.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
Dave, when you say to me, "Look, buddy,"
Yeah.
and then you begin to explain something science,
Like
I know you're
bacteria
just-
sex? Yeah.
I know you're just patronizing the fuck out of me.
No, not even. I just love that you love sexy things. So we're going to talk about sexy bacteria time.
Oh yeah.
I do love, a science moment, not really at all, but I love that Dr. Viper kind of goes up against this random, is he even named, this really nerdy lab guy that they get? This other cat scientist?
No, I don't know that he gets a name.
They don't even name him,
Because
he's-
it's very in passing, and it's probably
Victim
Caliban
number
says it.
1.
Yeah, he just shows up with a lab coat and they're just like, oh, this guy's probably got something we can use. Let's talk to him. He's like, I have a powerful antibiotic. And then apparently, like, he and Dr. Viper, like, used to work together or they knew each other somehow. Because Viper's just like, fuck you, friend. I made my bacteria antibiotic resistant. So there you
It
go.
is kind of the episode of throwaway characters.
Oh, yeah.
Because you
They
end
all
up,
are,
you end
let's
up
be honest.
you end up tossing out Morbius and also tossing out this doctor character.
Yeah.
Like you establish them and make them seem like they're part of, and then just kill them off immediately.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did they kill them off? Because like they fire missiles at so much shit, and you think to yourself like, look, if I got hit with a missile, I'd be dead.
Unless you were a walking bacteria creature.
I don't know that though.
Which technically, Sean, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. Your tests came in. You more or less are a walking bacteria creature.
Ooh.
Sorry, buddy. Perhaps I should have waited till we were off air for that, but there it is.
No, you know what?
He's sick funny. He's sick funny.
You are just sick funny.
You know, I'm glad that I know.
Yeah.
Because now I can come up with a plan. I can talk with my primary care physician.
It's half the battle.
You know.
Hey, you know what you can
I have
try?
options.
Just go electrocute yourself, and that should only take out the bacteria, because that's SWAT Kat science.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I want to say for all 3 of these episodes, if I can summarize them,
Sure.
they were dizzying as hell.
Like visually?
Visually.
Okay.
There was so much shit that happened so quickly, and it was all missile related. That at one point, like I was just like, oh, all right. I think I don't know if it was in episode 3 where they like flew their plane through a waterfall of orange soda, or if it was episode 2 where they just decided that they were gonna spring razors from the back of their plane and fly.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Next to an electrical power line.
Yeah.
But I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna think that these guys, they're great terrorists. Like, they're really good terrorists.
Very good at being terrorists. Yeah, because they survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake is a genius engineer, mechanical genius. Yeah. He can do anything. He can think in all planes of existence as far as what sort of weaponry you're going to need.
Yeah.
Sean, I will say this to your point. Like, just visually, the show, I really like the animation of it. I didn't think it was that bad. It's just got a weird, like, zoomed-in quality, which is really kind of strange. I don't know if they did that to, like, cut costs or literally cut corners, because
or just make me puke.
Yeah, just make Sean puke and give up on his dreams of being a paleontologist. But it's a very strange, like, visual choice that they make. Everything's just kind of zoomed in, so you see, like, half a character here and there. It's a little strange, but we're getting a little short on time. I want to touch on this 3rd episode, because for me, this is the first one that actually hinted at somewhat of a bigger history for the SWAT Kats, because this is the first time that you learned kind of their backstory. You learned that the Turbo Cat was put together with junk parts from the Enforcer planes, all that kind of stuff. So, what was your guys' reactions to the reveals?
You learned that Commander Farrell has always been a dick.
Always a dick.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
bad decisions.
Dave, I think you're right. Like, this is the first episode where you get a little bit of a glimpse into the history between T-Bone and Razor, and
even the villain that they introduced too, which was interesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a pivotal episode. Like, I would say, if anybody is going to watch an episode, check out episode 3.
Right.
It makes a little bit more sense historically for this show. Episode 1 is just, if you just want to watch something batshit insane, watch episode 1.
Or you could watch episode 3 and see almost the entirety of episode 1 in the lead-in credits to start out.
Yeah, exactly. And episode 2, because there's a giant bacteria in that one as well. So yeah. No, but yeah, three I thought was pretty good for doing that. I would almost say, if you actually want to get into the mythology of the show a little bit, then yeah, check out 3. But do you guys have anything else from that episode you want to talk about before we actually move into our recommendations?
No, I was gonna say, Tony, do you recommend this show? You watched the first 3 episodes and then you continued to watch.
Yeah.
I watched at least another 2.
Excellent.
I might have fallen asleep in the middle of the 3rd. I think I do. I think I do recommend this one just because it at least has a cohesive story. I actually give a shit about the characters while I'm watching it. In some cases, very little shit, but at least some amount. I enjoyed it. It is going back to the hashtag.
He forgot his hashtag. There it is.
Catnip for children. Catnip for children. I got it. It is. I mean, it's a lot of things that just make me think back to my childhood of, like, I used to love planes that could do anything. Right. And I would imagine I would build that Lego plane that I always had 4,000 different missiles that could come out the bottom of it, and that's just how kids think, how they operate. It was very nostalgic for me to watch it. So, yes, I would recommend this one.
Nice. Sean, what about you?
I would recommend watching episode 1 or 3. Okay. And if you enjoy that, continuing on. I think the challenging thing for me was that I realized very quickly that the Turbo Cat was their Deus Ex Machina.
I just want to
For
clarify. Did you? Because I think I might have blipped out for a second. Did you call it a churro cat?
the Turbo
I heard
Cat.
churro cat, which sounds
I,
delicious.
I want a
Just
churro
a
cat
cat
now.
dipped in hot batter and
Just
cinnamon and sugar.
ooh, oh my god,
Tasty.
Churro cats.
that ooh, fried to
Meow.
perfection. That is
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Me wow.
And so I'm gonna point out something that you may not know, then, that the fourth episode, the baddie is yet again Dr. Venom.
Okay.
He comes back in that one. So the fact they're skipping number 2 but then saying continue, it's more
Okay.
of the same.
All right. I feel like this show kind of like Darkwing Ducked me.
Ooh, really?
Was that like I watched Darkwing Duck and I know I watched SWAT Kats when I was younger, like 13 or 15 between those years, and I 13, 14, 15. It's a
All 25
it's
episodes,
a
both
range.
years it was
It's not-
on.
God damn it. But
Please continue.
I know that I enjoyed watching it now, but I think watching it as an adult 20 years later, I was like, there were some things that like I kind of got annoyed about. I don't know if that's the best way of saying it, but I still enjoyed some of it. It was still, again, I know I'm going to say that it was kind of dizzying, but there was just so much going on at all times, and it was one of those things where like all 3 episodes that we watched, it was like it always ended with them like shooting a missile and then flying off into the sunset.
Literally,
and we're always
yeah.
like, yeah, and
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
and so it just I don't know if I entirely got on board with it, but I would recommend watching the first or the third episode and really seeing if you're interested in it. If you like to throw up after watching a cartoon, then yeah, you might enjoy the rest of the the series.
Like a hairball. If you like throwing up a
Yeah.
hairball at the end of a cartoon, then this is the one for you. There it is. Get it up there.
Dave, how are you feeling about this show?
I actually liked it. I had a blast with it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Classic Dave.
It's classic me, man. This is why I like doing the show. I like going back to visit these things, and I mean, obviously, it doesn't hold up at all as far as anything that's coherent plot-wise, but it is just a lot of fun. And I mean, once you put a couple of cats in a high-speed jet, I mean, what else can you ask for? So I don't know. I'd say check it out, and honestly, I'd say watch 1, 2, and 3, and if you can survive those and like what you see, then you should definitely check out some more. I would actually like to watch a couple more just to see kind of like if they even expand on the stories at all, or if it's just kind of an episodic nature, like there's never really any overarching story. But yeah, I'd say check it out. Why not? It was a lot of fun. SWAT Kats. So I want to thank you guys for both joining me on SWAT Kats. I know this was my pick. My picks are usually terrible for everyone else, but fantastic for me.
I have been excited for this one for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I did the first episode with you guys, I remember telling you I would do SWAT Kats if you opted to do it, because I remember this series. So.
Exactly, and we loved having Tony on, and I'm going to turn it back over to Tony, who's going to let you know what he's got coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Ooh, plugs.
Yeah, plug time.
So the big thing that I've got on right now. My co-producer and I, Brianna Lux, we produced a short sketch called Heist for our YouTube channel, Ugly Hollywood. And shortly thereafter, we wound up submitting that for Project Greenlight for the new season. They're resurrecting that show. And one of the things that came from that is that we didn't make it through past the top 200, which was a good showing. I mean, there were a couple thousand entries. We made it to the top 200, but then they took the top 200 and they selected a handful of films, and they're doing these Greenie Awards for them, which is their best comedy, best action, best drama, and so we're actually nominated for best comedy for Project Greenlight.
Congratulations!
And thank you, sir. It's a voting process. It's a very simple one, which just includes going and liking the video on YouTube. So if you go and search Project Greenlight on YouTube, you can get to their page really quickly, and then you'll see all the different Greenie Awards, and just look for Heist on there. And please give it a like. So give us a shot to potentially win a cool award.
Awesome, sir. And where can the folks keep up with you on social media if they are so inclined?
Social media, you can follow me on Twitter at BigTonyVT. You can check out our videos on and Instagram. Yeah, Sean's reminding me. And you can also check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/uglyhollywood, and my production company Crowded Elevator on vimeo.com/Crowded Elevator.
Excellent, sir. Tony set the bar pretty high. Sean, what do you got for the kids out there?
Oh my god, I got so much crap going on.
Ooh, he's got Bev Big Head voice again.
Oh, David.
Oh no.
Yeah, you love it. So the day that this episode gets released, at 10 p.m., I'm going to be performing with Washington Improv Theater with my group Knox. This is a part of their Fighting Improv SmackDown tournament run that they do every March and April.
Tournament of the Fist. Hoo-yah.
Tournament of the Fist. I actually just competed in Fist tonight, won my match, and I'm advancing on to the third round.
Congratulations to you as well.
Sean did some glorious fisting on stage tonight.
Brutal.
Consistently.
Consistent.
It's all when you're fisting. It's all about consistency. That's all I want to say.
That's really what it's all about.
Was it a co-ed team? Was it co-ed fisting, or was this all male fisting?
No, it's all male fisting.
Okay. That's what I paid for.
I'm going to be performing with Knox March 28th, the day that this is released at 10 p.m. So come and check us out. I'm going to be performing the following week, April 4th at 10 p.m. again, and then April 11th at 4 p.m. all with Knox. You can find and buy tickets witdc.org. If you happen to be in, I don't know, the Boston area and you're listening to this, come and say hello to Tony and I. We had a 48-hour film festival that we wrote, and then Tony directed and edited and submitted it to the Women in Comedy Festival.
It was selected. Starring the lovely Brianna Lux that I mentioned before, and so she will be joining us up in Boston as well.
Very nice.
So the three of us will be up in Boston for 24 hours on April 22nd.
Get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot. And feel free to come to that screening and say hello to us. And there's also an audience vote, too. Ooh. So if you like us and you vote for us, it makes the trip up there all the more wild. So we appreciate your support.
Excellent. And where can the folks follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sean Paul Ellis. I'm still putting up stuff about Saturday morning cartoons every week on my Instagram. If you like it and comment on it, I will give you free tickets to come see an upcoming improv show in Washington, D.C.
Everybody loves free.
Just a ticket to the show. I'm not going to provide like travel and expenses and a per diem to come to D.C.
Per diem.
Yeah, everybody's like, fuck that. Dave, what are you up to?
Well,
buddy?
Unfortunately, I am outclassed by my gentlemen guests tonight. But if you were interested in finding out what I'm doing each and every week, head on over to collider.com and collider.com/TV. Unfortunately, most of my shows are kind of wrapping up for the season here. Walking Dead, last episode airs this Sunday, so that's the last chance to check out my recaps over at collider.com. Lucky for you, I've still got Gotham, The Flash, and Arrow. So stop on by, check them out, and let me know that you heard them on Saturday Morning Cartoons. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Dr. Claw MD. And if you want to know more about this particular show, you can follow us at our website, SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. Remember, that's morning with a U. You can also follow us on Twitter at MorningTunes. Check out Sean's handiwork over on our Tumblr page, SaturdayMorningCartoons.tumblr.com. You can also send us an email, let us know how we're doing, suggest future episodes, things you'd like to hear, maybe pictures of you in your furry outfits, for Sean only, for Sean's eyes only.
Yeah, if you do send that out, just like make sure very explicitly in the subject
explicit.
line that
yes.
You just say like to Sean XXX.
XXX. Yeah, you can send that to SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. I really wish you wouldn't, but just send them to Sean directly. And if you want to download our podcast each and every week, you can do so through Stitcher or iTunes. Speaking of each and every week, buddy, I'm going to turn it back over to you before we end for the night.
What's up?
We got a big month coming up here.
Oh my god!
And I don't know if we plugged it last week or not because I can't remember. I got a goldfish memory. So, do you want to let the folks know what we got coming up over the next few weeks on the show?
The entire month of April, we are going to be discussing and talking about and reviewing and crapping on video game cartoons.
Wow!
Starting with
Starting with Super Mario Brothers.
Yahoo! It's a me.
Not even that Super Mario Brothers, like
Oh.
Super Mario Super Show style Super Mario Brothers. So hold on to your butts. This is gonna be brutal.
It's gonna be a rough ride. I
my
don't know how
God.
this is gonna go, but it's gonna be fun. So we've got at least 4 weeks. Maybe we'll extend it a little bit more for you guys if you're loving it. Some video
Well, I mean,
game cartoon
do you
shows.
wanna tease out all four?
I mean, we're hitting kind of the big ones for the most part right now, so you guys can pretty much expect what we're doing. But yeah, if you wanna roll out all 4, go
No,
ahead.
I mean we're gonna be talking about some people from the Mushroom Kingdom,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna be discussing some travelers in Hyrule.
Well, excuse me.
Oh God.
damn it.
And then we're gonna be talking about a specific hedgehog,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna be talking about 2 tattooed brothers who just punch people on the street.
That could be actually a number of different video games, but I think you can figure it out. It's not Battletoads, not yet anyway. But
Is that Street Fighter? Or is that?
you'll just have to tune in and see, Tony.
Yeah, I hope so. So
But yeah, man, if this goes well, which I think it will, I mean, there's a ton of video game cartoons out there, so we will
boy.
definitely revisit this in the future. But to
They are
close
all
out tonight's show, I would like to
Oh,
ask.
do you have an outro, or I have one for you?
Oh boy, we'll trade off because I want to ask you guys first, each,
All right.
you and Tony, what is your signature missile that you would fire from the Turbo Cat?
That's
Oh.
what mine was for you,
Are
buddy.
you fucking kidding me? Okay, then we'll all do it. That's fine. We'll do round robin.
Oh,
We'll
this
just
is
circle
the
jerk
thing
this
you tell
out.
me ahead of time. I would have to say the butt scratcher, the butt
Ooh.
scratcher missile.
Butt scratcher.
Because especially in a world filled with cats, if you just get that spot right by the butt and the back tail goes up, they're yours.
No, I
that
like
cat
that.
belongs to you.
You own
so,
that city.
So that is the enslavement tool right there.
Very
so
nice.
that would be mine. Butt
Very nice.
scratcher.
Sean, what do you got for us tonight?
I would just have a pizza missile.
You can't
it
just answer pizza every week. This is the second
I'm
week
gonna
that you've
answer.
answered pizza.
Look,
You wanted
you asked
pizza
me a
armor
question,
last
I'm
week or whatever it was.
I'm answering you truthfully. It would just be, look, I want pizza right now.
I mean-
I'm going to go eat pizza.
But you don't need a
the
missile to
moment
get
this is going to
pizza,
happen.
is what I'm trying to
If
tell
I
you.
had a missile that delivered pizza, I would be very happy about that.
There are people that deliver pizza though. You don't need a missile to deliver.
Look, if they did ride a missile to get to you and give you pizza, though, I do have to admit that's pretty boss.
That's very.
It was like a
Strange
Doctor
Love right
Strange.
there.
Yeah, it's exactly which they channeled in that 3rd episode. Yeah.
Love it. Dave, what is your signature missile?
All right, here's my outro. It's gonna be a hentai missile because this show has
Whoa,
a disturbing amount of Rule 34, which
Ooh, okay.
was very disappointing to me and the
Okay.
kids. Yeah.
But how many tentacles are in that? Because that's
As
really
many
just
as you
the
can fit,
octopus.
brother.
That's really just the octopus missile.
It really is, but how many can you fit in there at once? That's the question.
Ooh.
Are you up for it?
I'm-
This
I'm
is kind of like the
uncomfortable with
upgraded
this
octopus
outro.
missile. Yeah. Hey, this
The
has been
longer-
Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Classy ending.
Yeah, always. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
See you next time.